lose it. Come on, lift up your sound right here. Come on, lift up your sound. Hallelujah. Hey. Hey. Come on. Here we go. I feel the release about to hit this room. Here we go. Come on. Come on. Hey. I'm releasing you, says God. Hey. It's up to you to receive it, but there's a wave of release. There's a wave of release. I release you from public opinion. I release you from what they said. I release you from what they think about you. I release you from what it looks like. I release you. I don't care what mama thought. I don't care what daddy said. I don't care what the prophet said incorrectly. God said, I release you from every word curse. They come out now. From every word curse, I release you. From every stagnation, I release you. From every stigma, I release you. Today is the day of your release. Yeah, come on. You can't get this with your mouth closed, but you gotta release a shout in this room. Hey, hey, hey. You gotta release a yell out of the depths of your spirit. And as you yell, I promise you things are being uprooted. As you yell, hey, ho, ho, my, so. Yeah, that's not the yell. But what you release the yell, hey, shot. What you release the yell. Come on, that ain't it. What you release it. Hey, 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 hey. I said, once you release it. Once you release it. The enemy doesn't want you to open your mouth. Because he knows when you yell, that means God will help. He knows when you yell, God will come see about you. He knows when you yell, God says, what's wrong with my daughter? What's wrong with my son? So the enemy tries to muzzle you. But today the prophet comes and he releases your mouth to war. He releases your mouth to yell. He releases your mouth to give God glory in this place. Come on and live. Come on and live. Come on and live. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If your neighbor's not listening, help your neighbor. But we got a sin today. Hey, hold on. There has to be a shout here. Hey, the Bible says when Jesus comes, he's descending with a shout. So whenever Jesus is to show up, there must be a shout. Hey. That sounded good, but that wasn't the right one. Come on. I need every voice. I need every person. Hey, come on, Sunday. Kedianaya. Sokorianama. Live, come on, live. Whoa. Yes, God. Go down, yeah. Some of us needed this moment in his presence. Some of us need this moment for this release. Some of us need this moment for this refreshing. Oh, I feel the power of God speaking in here. So yeah. But you want to be disobedient and not yell. But I promise you, if you lift your voice, he'll lift you out of it. If you lift your voice, he'll lift the enemy upon you. If you lift your voice, he'll lift the burden upon your shoulder. But you gotta lift. Yeah. Come on, JC, we got a sound. we got a sound here. Oh. Fire and glory is here right now. Fire, come here, Angel, and glory is here right now. Oh, fire and glory. Everybody say, fire and glory. Fire to burn up your situation. His glory removes the fear. Very softly. Very softly. Hands lifted. Surrender to the glory that's in this room. Surrender to the glory that's in this room. Surrender. 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 Fire. Fire and glory. I don't just need your glory, God, but there's some things in my life that have me chained, and I need your fire to burn them away. There are some things that hold me captive today. I'm so mad that God, I need your fire. I need your glory also. Because your glory is insurance that you're with me. Your glory is proof that you're with me right now. I don't need an angel. I don't need a friend. But I need your fire and I need your glory. I need something with power to change my situation. And I understand that you are the most powerful to ever be. And so today, I ensure that I will be able to do all that you said. If you just give me your fire, if you just give me your glory, if you just give me your fire, if you just give me your glory, we're going to lift it one time. But when we lift it, I need you to give God an unrestricted praise. I need you to just think about Him and Him alone. And the fact that He's all powerful, that He's almighty, that He's strong and never failing. So we're about to lift it. Right here. We're lifting. We're lifting. Fire and glory. I need you to put your mind on Him. We're still building. But when we lift it, I need you to give God a ridiculous praise. not a promise that he promised you that's dead. There's not a gift that he's given you that will remain dormant. He's expanding your gift. Yep, I heard that. Here we go. 3, 2. I need everybody to get out of ridiculous praise right now. Right now, right now. Come on, right here. Right here, right here. Right here, right here. That ain't written. Yeah. Unrestricted. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unrestricted. Yadabaso. Yeah. Fire. Come on. Yeah. Oh, Shataya. Yeah. I dare you just to clap your hands and open up your mouth, because the fire of God is at GNC. And everything that we sacrifice to him, he'll receive it. I dare you to sacrifice your hand clap. I dare you to sacrifice your offering. I dare you to give him a praise. Fire and glory. We thank you for your presence being in this room. I told my God. He doesn't come and arrest us like this for no reason. Oh. You're perfect in all your ways. You're holy in all your ways. You're wonderful, powerful, wonderful, powerful. You're wonderful, powerful, wonderful. Joshua chapter 1. Powerful. Wonderful. Powerful. It is under. We can't get it. Joshua chapter 1 verse 10. I read it by mistake last week, but I'm going to read it on purpose this week. Verse 10 reads, Joshua then commanded the officers of Israel, go through the camp and tell the people to get their provisions ready. In 3 days you will cross the Jordan River and take possessions of the land the Lord your God is giving you. Then Joshua called together the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. He told them, 13, remember what Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you. The Lord your God is giving you a place of rest. He has given you this land. Your wives, your children, and your livestock must remain here in the land of Moses assigned to you on the east side of the Jordan River. Be strong. That's a song of the Lord right there. Be strong warriors, fully armed.
must lead the other tribes across the Jordan to help them conquer their territory. Stay with them, my God, until the Lord gives them rest, as he has given you rest, and until they too possess the land the Lord your God has given them. Only then may you return and settle here on the east side of the Jordan River, in the land that Moses, the servant of the Lord, assigned to you. Then answered Joshua, we will do whatever you command. Then they answered Joshua. Let me make sure it's clear. They answered Joshua, we will do whatever you command us, and we will go wherever you send us. Let me read it again. And they answered Joshua, we will do whatever you command us, and we will go wherever you send us. We will obey you just as we obeyed Moses. And the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Anyone who rebels against you and your orders, does not obey the words and everything you command, will be put to death. So be strong and courageous. Verse 15 for the last time. Verse 16, I'm sorry, for the last time. They answered Joshua, we will do whatever you command us. As you take your seats, we've been in a series about transition, and we are beginning a journey in life where we are starting to now transition. And I was brought across this interesting fact that in 1997, Gary McPherson conducted a study of children choosing musical instruments. He analyzed their IQ, math skills, income, and listening sensitivity. He learned the best predictors of future success as a musician was found in a simple question that was asked of each child. So he took their IQ, he took their math skills, he took the income that the family was making, and then he even took the sensitivity of their listening ability, a little bit more. And then he said, one question will tell me how long they'll be doing it. One question will tell me how long they'll play for. One question will tell me how successful they will be. This one question was this: how long do you think you will play? He asked those students that he surveyed, how long do you think you'll play? The students who planned to play for a short time and did not become proficient. Those students who said that they planned to play through their school year, they had okay success. However, the students who wanted to play for a lifetime ended up being excellent. It did not depend on their IQ. It did not depend on their skill, but their skill grew because they were determined to do this as a career. They were determined to do this for the rest of their life. They were determined to do this as a career. And I want us to understand today, as we're transitioning, it depends on our determination. Because if we have the determination that says, I'm going to serve God the rest of my life, then you will. But if you have that determination that says, I don't know how much more I can take and how much further I'm going to make it, those words will become your future. Why? Because we understand that you can only now reach what you are determined to reach. Some of you said, I didn't know how I was going to do it, and then you did better than you were supposed to because you were determined. And so if anything that you need to make sure that this transition is secure in your life, it is determination. And so if God God wants us to learn anything through transition, it's commitment, it's determination. It's us now setting goals and following through and working until the goals are complete. Y'all not hearing me? And so we oftentimes set goals and then we forget them. And so this is not the old crock pot. It's not a set it and forget it. But we have to get to the place, I'm going to set it and then I'm going to monitor my success. I'm going to set it and I'm going to look at how close and how far I am from making it happen, because I don't just want to be a singer, but I want to be the best singer. I don't just want to be a preacher, but I want to be the best preacher. I don't just want to be a customer service representative, but I want to be the best. And if I want to be the best, I have to now mark my success. I gotta now look at how far I've come. I have to set goals and then accomplish them, but we know that already. We touched on it last week a little bit, and we touched on it in the past. And so we understand that commitment is God's way to get us to what He desires. Yep, commitment is God's way of getting us to what He desires. And so we understand that He only honors His desire. And what happens is our commitment is the paycheck that God needs to perform. Our commitment is what it takes for God to do everything that He said. But if you are not committed, then what begins to happen is God is now restricted in what He's able to do for you. Y'all don't believe me, but I'm going to prove it in a minute. So you entered salvation, but now what? See, you can't just get saved, but you have to be committed now to know God. You don't just get saved and cry and think everything is going to change, but you have to be committed to your transition. You have to be committed to your change. You have to be committed to your relationship. You have to be committed to the things of God. And so when I talk about commitment today, I want you to understand that it does take hard work. I know we don't like that in the black church, but I come to preach it and I'm going to say it again. It takes hard work. We do not serve Santa Claus. I don't know if you know that, but newsflash, we don't serve Santa Claus. We serve Jesus Christ. And if He had a hard life, how much harder will our life be? Because we're supposed to do more and greater, oh God. And so when we understand that our life is supposed to be hard, we no longer stop because our life is hard. Y'all not talking to me. We no longer stop. We no longer slow down. We no longer falter because our life is hard. But when we say, okay, come what may, oh my God, but I'm going to follow Jesus. Come what may, but I'm going to keep going I'm going to keep pressing toward the mark of the high calling. Come what may, but I've got somewhere to be. Yes, God. And so we understand that He's calling us, Andreas, to a place, Denise, of commitment. He's calling us to a place where we say, no matter what, I am going to set now in my life a system of commitment. Yeah, I know you don't understand this word commitment, and I don't have a definition for you, but I want to show you how it works in your life. You know that relationship that failed. Why? Because he was not committed to you. And so I want that same definition that you've already placed in your head for commitment to be the way you commit to Jesus. Yeah. So if you wanted somebody to text on you and check up on you, I need you to begin to text, oh my God, text Jesus and check up on Jesus. How do I do that? That Bible is how you do it. How do I do that? Prayer is how you do it. And so we need to now become committed to Jesus. Yes. Yeah, we need to become committed to the Lord. And so anytime you get rid of something that served a purpose, you must now replace it, yeah? We talked about it last week, but my time ran out. So whenever something that served a purpose, I'm trying to be good because we got kids, but whenever you had a boo and a bae that served a purpose, you have to now replace that with something, yeah? I understand God said cut them off, but after you cut them off, remember that now you have some spare time. After you cut them off, please remember that now you have a void. Please remember, after you let them go and say you can do battle by yourself, there is a period of time where you have to begin now to fill the hole. And I suggest that you fill the hole with Jesus, because He is the ultimate void filler. And so what we like to do is we like to pick up another bad habit. But no, that's not what God's calling for today. As we transition and as God subtracts from our life, what we must make sure we do is now everything that He takes away, we replace it with Him. Oh God, we have to make sure that we begin to replace our nasty habits that He's calling for and that He's taking away with Him. We have to make sure that we begin to replace now the things that were not sin but He still asks for. We have to make sure we begin to replace them with Him. Y'all looking at me strange. We have to get to the place where He says turn off the TV. No, it wasn't a sin, but I want more of your time. And so now you have to replace your TV watching, oh God, with Him. And so We get to this place here, I'm trying, and we get to this place here that if we understand this concept very good, we understand if we throw away a chair, sooner or later, you will now need a chair in that place, okay? If you throw away your bed, sooner or later, you're going to realize that I need something to sleep on. It served a purpose. I'm not going to let this point go. I want to make sure you understand it. It served a purpose. And so whenever something serves a purpose, don't be so shocked that you feel a little weird. You feel a little different. You feel a little off your square, as one of my daughters say, because of the simple fact that it served a purpose. And so whenever something serves a purpose, and I'm talking about replacing it with Jesus, whenever you have to replace it with Jesus, please understand that it will operate differently. I don't know where this is coming from, but it will operate differently. And so when I talk about this, they gave you joy. God took them away, so he took away that joy. Now, what was that joy that he took away? He took away temporary joy. And so what he now has is permanent joy. Oh God, you're not talking to me. But the permanent joy does not look like, does not sound like, it is not shaped like the old joy. And so when we understand this, when we understand loves, as we call them, there is a lesser love and a greater love. And so his greater love does not look like, does not act like, and does not treat you like the lesser love. Whew. And so when we get to this place and we understand that, okay, no one can love me better than God, I have to now be receptive, oh God, to the way that he's going to love me. I know some of y'all thought black eyes was love, but I want to let you know there's a greater love. I know some of you thought cheating as long as he comes home was love, but I want you to understand there is a greater love. I know you thought that whatever they did, as long as they said I love you was love, but I want you to understand that there is somebody named Jesus, and he can show you what real love is, okay? And so after you cut the person out of your life, they need to go away, but you now have to get to the place that says everything that has been stripped from me, I'm replacing it with Jesus. Yeah, we're going from watching silly stuff on Facebook to watching sermons. I'm replacing it with Jesus. We're going from ratchet TV to worship concerts. Why? Because I'm replacing it with Jesus. After you cut, you must replace. Oh God, oh God, oh God, you must replace. You must replace. I ain't gonna get stuck there. You must replace. And so he told them, right? He told them that they have to now make provision. You only make provision, Shaquilla, when you're going somewhere, okay? Y'all don't believe me, but I don't know anybody who just jumps in the car and doesn't pack. Why? Because you're making provisions for the trip that you're about to take. And I know we're talking about transition is internal, but there is still some level of provision that must be made. There is still some level of provision, or we'll say it another way, there is still some preparation that needs to be made. And we must begin to say, okay, I am preparing myself for whatever it is that God does. I am now fine-tuning my ear. I am now listening to him even the more, because I do not want to miss what it is that he is doing in my life. Yeah, I don't want to miss what he's doing in my life. So here, I talked all around it, but let's get to the text. Here in the text, we see the Israelites, and the Israelites were about to go to the place that God promised them. Now he promised it to them a while ago, but now comes the moment, now comes the time that he's working on their spirit, because what they have been promised is close. Y'all missed the revelation of what I just said. So when God says, okay, it's time for your spirit to begin to transition, what it means is he's about to now bring you into it. I know they prophesied it. I know you believed it. I know you heard it. I know you named it. I know you claimed it. But now that the transition is coming, that means it's right around the corner. I dare you to turn to your neighbor and say, hey neighbor, it's right around the corner. Yeah, it's right around the corner. Yeah, the preview was not in vain. Oh God, I'm prophesying. I said the preview is not in vain. Yeah, I know you've seen it, but you couldn't possess it. But it was not. Yeah, God, it was not. God. It was not in vain. And so, before we cross over, the transition comes, oh God. And the transition is what I like to call a prerequisite, The transition that happens on the inside of your life, we call it, Delia, a prerequisite, okay? And a prerequisite is a thing. This is the Stefan definition. The prerequisite is a thing that requires or that is required as a prior condition for something else to happen. Okay, let me slow it down and say it again. A prerequisite is a thing that is required as a prior condition for something else to happen. So before we cross over into the new year, there are some prerequisites. Before God fills this house with his people, there are some prerequisites. Before you get the new job, there are some prerequisites. Before he gives you the gift of healing, there are some prerequisites. And so before we move to the next place in God, we must understand, people of God, there are some prerequisites. I'm an author, and before the book came to fruition, before it got in your hands, before you downloaded it on your phone, guess what? There were some prerequisites. Okay, you might not understand this, so let me help you out very good right here. If you want to be a nurse, I ain't got none of my nurses here, but we got two in this church. And so if you wanted to be a nurse, I know you say, okay, I'm just going to wake up and be a nurse. That's good and that's great. But you don't just wake up and walk into a hospital and let them know that you're going to be a nurse. It don't work like that. There are some prerequisites. Now, you don't believe me, but in order to be a nurse, you got to take English, and you got to take biology and chemistry and anatomy and nutrition and medical technology, among other courses. Why? Because there are prerequisites to whatever it is that you will walk in. And so when you say, I'm going to walk in power, I'm going to walk in glory, I'm going to walk into the will of God, there are some prerequisites, Stevie, to what God is calling you to do. And so we can't get so excited about the promise and forget the prerequisites. We can't get so excited that God is going to bless our socks off that we forget that we must do some work before we live in it. Point number one. You have to now, I've been struggling with the order of my points, but we're going to start it off here and we're going to keep it moving. Point number one, you have to have a personal, yes, God, commitment, okay? I thank you, Father. He just told me this was the right order. Okay. So we have to have a personal commitment, yeah. And so before we go to the commitment to others, before we go to the global commitment, before we talk about being committed to our jobs and our churches and our communities, there must first, yes, God, be a personal commitment. I need you to say, I have a personal commitment. And so God will do the work if you will commit. You must be committed to the instruction. We talked about that last week and we understand it. So let me say it again. You must be committed to the instruction. You must be committed to the application, and you must be committed to the process. I'll say it again for Shaquilla. You must be committed to the instruction. You must be committed to the application, and you must be committed to the process. And when you look at those three words, the different parts of what I call transition, because we understand that the instruction is what God says. We understand the application is our response to the instruction, but then God sends us through something called a process. All right? Transition takes commitment. I ain't going to preach about the process. Transition takes commitment. And so if you're willing, if you're not willing to be a steward over what God says, then you have to now understand that the results will not be favorable. If you're not willing to do what God says, if you're not willing to obey the instructions, if you're not willing to give yourself to application, if you're not willing to submit to the process, then what happens is your results may vary. I don't